Ladies and gentlemen, we are in Art Scene West Gallery, sitting in an installation that Chris Blanco built. I was here, I witnessed it. It was a lot of work, and it just gave me a small idea of what it is like. I'm sure when you're building these sets out in nature amongst the elements. So I got to see it. It was, this thing come up, and what it is now, it's not like anything we've ever hosted in the gallery or maybe ever will, unless Chris comes back and does it again. So I want to say thank you for this hard work and for your, just process, your vision, and your ability to see it through to the end.
Well, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity of being here, of being part of Art Scene West Gallery. And I'm really excited to share with you this new project, this installation. This installation is to showcase part of my body of work. It's a project that I'm really happy and excited to build and create. I'm really happy for the process and the results that this project has had, and I can't wait to share with you new projects, new photos, and I hope that you enjoy it as much as I do.
Yeah, and people are enjoying it. There's always admirers. In the gallery we had a whole family just kind of talking about your work, which is, I think, what all artists want, is to start a conversation. And your work's doing that. And I understand when you create these images, you have an intention. I mean, from a sketch that you do on a pad of paper, it becomes this real life kind of living thing that is just reaching people from all over the world when they see your images. And maybe you can share with me how close from that original idea, let's say when it starts in your head or in your heart, to your finished, image. How close does your finished image get to that initial inspirational idea that you had?
Let's say like 70%. Try to make it as the idea comes originally as my sketch, but due to environment limitations, due to the weather, or sometimes things don't seem to fit in the image, that's where it doesn't get like too close to the sketch.
So it sounds like you're making some kind of last minute decisions.
Exactly.
So what we're seeing is sometimes well, of course, as an artist, never tell people what they're not seeing, which is what you wish you could have did differently. But what we're looking at, it's 70%, and that other, there's like things you decided not to put in, or things that you had to change, last minute. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes the plan was doing the photo shoot at, let's say, sunset, but sometimes time doesn't seem to help me with arranging the set, and I don't know, the people who help me, my friends, maybe they take too long doing certain thing, and simply it's not enough time, so we stay until night and do the shooting at night, and that gives us like a different result, like something that I didn't anticipate to, but due to the limitations of time, however.
That's incredible. So really behind the lens kind of perspective there, because it just looks so good. And so you're working with kind of what nature's giving you and your circumstances, right?
Right, that's right. I like to work in outdoors because part that it's a challenge. It is really something that sometimes surprises me with the end result, because it gives me another look, and also a different result that I expected, but sometimes the result is better.
Yeah, so there's a famous saying made famous by Bob Ross, a painter, happy accidents.
Happy, exactly.
And you know, painters will kind of joke about it, but it's true. In that creative process, things that we don't intend on happening happen, but it's better than what we were thinking, or it's a brilliant idea that when you say happy accidents, you're not like taking credit for something, but you're working in nature. And so you say you prefer it, so you know you're gonna get kind of unideal conditions, and you're willing, that's what you're kind of part of your whole, theme and process. So tell us like the connection that nature has to you and then to your work. Like it's obviously a big theme.
I always try to combine nature because that's where I started as a landscape photographer. And I always loved those exotic places and where nature looked almost painterly. And I wanted to combine like old paintings from famous artists of surrealism and combine those two. And this is my way of approaching that result. It's a way of taking photography back to painting, like trying to come back to the origins of visual arts. You know,
That's incredible.
yeah.
You know, really. So your inspiration is coming from the kind of heritage of visual arts in the classic sense of, classic formal paintings of still lifes or of characters, very proper. And there is that old kind of timey, like the old feel because of the dresses. So I think, looking at your paintings, one of the most mysterious things, your images, is the time, the setting. When is this character? And it's interesting because you have some props that don't really tell you much. But so is that something you think about when you're creating these images?
Yes, I always try to keep it really subtle. I don't want to mix modern elements. Maybe I love to use like candlelight or classic elements, vintage elements. That's my style. It's a way of me of representing life in its more minimalistic or in a more subtle way, so people can see the photo or the final image, and they can relate really easy to that image.
Yeah, because it's not about. The character is the center.
Yeah. Also, I don't want to take any attention away from the main character with elements or something. I want to keep it there in the expression, the emotions that it evokes, and I like to keep it that way.
That's so. It's very insightful. That your style, you say, is this. You're conscious of the time, and it's not modern, and it's not super ancient, but there's like this comfortable place.
Exactly.
Is that your style from how you personally approach life? Or is it, in kind of decorate your own home in more old-fashioned furniture and things, or is it just something you have like a fondness for, as an artist or just as a person, knowing history?
You know what? I want to always work like in the most simple way, and I want that my images make people feel like comfortable, that atmosphere. So that's why I don't want to use like modern elements, because they distract, and also I don't know, I like to keep it like classical, like that approach to art from the Renaissance, and that's why I take that approach.
Yeah, I understand you better now. One thing I do express to our guests here when they ask about your work is that you couldn't make it happen without a team, right? And so just tell us a little bit about that. What's it like being the director on top of being an artist? And you know, there's different, it seems, there's the creative stage, the creative aspect, there's the construction, then there's the directing, and you know, so tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I have a team of 5 people, sometimes there's one more, and they really love art. Two of them are historians. Wow. And love art history. The other ones love to paint or do other artistic things, you know, and they help me so much that sometimes they give me ideas at the moment of the shooting that change, maybe not the whole idea, but they change considerably. Mm-hmm. And I really appreciate that somebody, one of my friends or the people who help me, tell me, you know what, let's move her hair to another side, let's put her dress in a different way, or let's put some petals on her head, like in previous my work. So it's really important for me to have them, because they also help me with the frustration of sometimes not obtaining that result that I want, like I have in the sketch. So they help me figure it out somehow. So they really help me, and it's a ways that I feel like supported, and I don't feel alone during the process. So it's fun. I have fun with them, and they love to help me, and the result is, you know, it's really good.
The result speaks for itself. So, well, thank you for that. You know, I mean, I've not had very much experience in that, and I don't know how many people do. And so, you know, what sets you apart as an artist, and you know, only because of the way your art is created, is that there are literally other people's hands who you trust, you know, friends of yours who have a passion for this, also involved. There's a lot to suggest that there's a lot of work and effort. So tell me a little bit about the locations in some of these photos. Like, if you had any kind of stories about them, or what it's like. Are they very far from where you live? Is it an adventure getting there? I've been using the terms, it's been it's a sunrise to sunset kind of production here. So if you could just shed some light on the locations and what it's like getting there and how you choose them, you know, that might help us understand your process a little more.
I always try to find like an exotic location for these photos to make the background more interesting, but also something that relates to the story of the photo or what I want to talk about or share. So when figuring out where is going to be the next shooting, first I need to see and know what emotion do I want to share, you know? So in part of my work, while feeling like maybe a little bit sad, I was thinking about a place with water, something surrounded by water, so I chose a lake, or somewhere where it felt like alone, I chose like a desert or dunes or something that has like empty vegetation or something like that. And it's more of the challenge too of creating that scene in that place exactly where it's really hard to reach. Sometimes about 4 hours driving, sometimes even longer. But it's an adventure for us from the beginning of the trip to the end. Yeah, I have some stories of that. One day we got stuck in the lake because we entered with the car. We didn't had the tires like in the right pressure, so the car stuck there, and we spent like 2 hours trying to take it out.
Wow.
We were putting the set, the walls of the set, and there was a lot of wind, so the wind kept blowing apart all the set. It broke, and we used some tape to fix it like quickly. So it was a challenge. It was fun, and yeah, I always try to choose like a special place for me, and those special places are shown in my work. There's a really special place, the Hanson Lagoon, and it's an important place for me because I met new friends there. I had good times there, and I always take my telescope to that place because it's really good for seeing the stars and observation, and it has to do with like a connection with me and those special places. Yeah.
That's so cool. Thank you for sharing that. So when you're traveling 4 hours or any number of hours, you really have to get it done that day.
Yeah.
There must be a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure, a lot of frustration, sometimes tears, but at the end, maybe more.
Tears of joy.
Kind of. But it finally works out somehow or another, and some way or another, and it makes it worth the time, the experience, and the traveling from one place to another.
So you have memories.
Yeah.
And other people have memories attached to each one of these photos, and they're like living images. Just it comes off of the canvas like the paper, and it's quite amazing.
Thank you so much.
So the last thing I wanted to talk about, you don't have to give us any spoilers, but I'm curious about your new works, your new projects in your head. Are you thinking of 5-10 images and then getting around and then sketching them out and getting around to them, or do you conceive the first image and then that's your focus?
One at a time.
One at a time. That's what I'm thinking.
Because it's a lot of planning, and I have to be really detailed with all the things that involve creating that image, so I don't have the head to think about other projects. But the next project is gonna be a photo that talks about like inner fears. I always try to translate my internal states into an image or a visual form.
All right. I said no spoiler alerts. All right, Chris. Well, it was a pleasure having this interview with you. It seems like I'm always learning more about your process, and I know that there's even more behind each image. Maybe we'll get into it another time. But thank you so much for bringing this gallery to life in your kind of vision. Our online shop, which we'll be selling your work from, is finally going to go live. It's something I've been talking about and meaning to get around to for a long time, but the timing couldn't be more perfect.
That's right.
So instead of having to travel to San Diego to our gallery to get one of Chris's images, you can now go to our website. You'll be able to go to our website and bring a little bit of this home with you into your homes out there. Chris, thank you again. I can't wait for the future.
Thank you for inviting me to the gallery and giving me the chance. Really appreciate it.
Of course.